All right, let's dive right in. We all want to be heard, right? We want our ideas to land with real impact. But in a world that's just getting louder and louder, how do you actually cut through all that noise? Well, today, we're going to break down how to become a more confident and, crucially, a more concise communicator.
It really all starts with this one number: 8 seconds. That's it. According to research, that is the average human attention span today. It's actually down from 12 seconds back in 2000. You know what that means? It's less than a goldfish. So yeah, every single word you say has to fight to survive. And what are we all competing against? Well, this: 120. That's how many emails the typical office worker gets slammed with every single day. We're all basically swimming in this massive ocean of information, and just trying to stay afloat is getting tougher and tougher.
Now here's the number that really gets me: 23 minutes. That's how long it takes, on average, for our brains to get back on track after we've been distracted. So think about it. If you lose your audience's attention, you haven't just lost that moment. You've potentially cost them half an hour of their focus. The stakes are just incredibly high.
So knowing all that, we have to get strategic. Understanding this whole 8-second reality, it means we have to treat communication as a critical skill. It's not some soft skill anymore.
And you know what's fascinating? The professional world is totally catching on. In this age of just information overload, studies are finding that good communication skills are ranked as twice as important as managerial skills. Just let that sink in. Being clear is now valued more than being the boss. That is a huge shift in thinking.
Okay, so we get it. Being concise is important, but let's be real for a second. Have you ever walked away from a conversation just kicking yourself because you know you rambled? Yeah, we've all been there. So it really helps to understand the psychology behind why we do it, why we tend to over-explain.
A really key idea here is something called the sensitive striver. Now, this isn't a flaw. It's a super common archetype. It's basically someone who, because they want to be seen as competent and thorough, ends up overcompensating with way too much detail. This happens especially when they feel intimidated or insecure. They think they're adding value, but really they're just adding noise.
And this creates a huge disconnect. See, the sensitive striver feels this need to give you all the rich context, all the data points that led them to their conclusion. But the person they're talking to, say a senior executive, they don't need the whole journey. They just want the destination. They want the bottom line, and they want it fast. This mismatch is exactly where communication breaks down.
So, what's the solution? We need tools. Now that we kind of get the why, let's shift gears and get into the how. We're going to look at a few simple but really powerful frameworks you can use to bring clarity to your communication even when you're put on the spot.
Here's the first one. Before you even open your mouth or type a single word, try to complete this sentence in your head. Forcing yourself to fill in that blank, it distills your entire message down to its absolute core. This little phrase becomes your North Star, making sure your most important point actually gets delivered.
And that North Star idea leads perfectly into this next tool, which is a total secret weapon for those impromptu moments, the PrEP framework. It's just a simple 4-step structure. You make your point, give a reason, provide some evidence, and then you restate your point. PREP. It's like a little mental model that organizes your thoughts for you instantly.
In practice, it sounds something like this. You state your position: I believe direction A is best. Then you explain why. Because we've received positive feedback. You give a concrete example. For instance, our president said he supports it. And then you land the plane by repeating your main message. That's why I believe direction A is best. It's a complete, self-contained argument that is just almost impossible to misunderstand. Okay, so once you've mastered how to structure your own points, the next level up is learning how to actually guide the conversation itself. And this isn't about being manipulative, it's about making sure the dialogue stays productive and focused on what really, truly matters.
2 really powerful tactics from the world of public relations can help you do this. The first is called flagging. You're basically waving a verbal flag to say, hey, pay attention, this part is important. The second is bridging. That's a tool you can use to smoothly redirect the conversation, especially if it's starting to go off the rails.
But you have to remember, being a great communicator isn't just about what you say, it's also about what you hear. You know, often the most concise thing you can do is just stop talking and start listening. Asking smart, open-ended questions like these turns a monologue into a real dialogue, and it makes sure you're actually addressing what your audience needs to know.
All right, let's bring it all home with our final section. We've talked about preparing your message and steering the conversation. Now, let's talk about that final polish, how to edit your communication for maximum clarity and confidence.
Let's start with email, which, let's be honest, is where concise communication often goes to die. The rules are so simple and powerful. Keep it to 5 lines or less. If it needs to be longer, just pick up the phone. Use short sentences, use bullet points, use numbering. Make your message super easy to scan for that person who's dealing with 120 other emails.
And finally, be absolutely ruthless about cutting out filler words. So instead of saying, I just wanted to maybe check in, try, I'm checking in. That kind of hedging language, it doesn't make you sound polite. It actually minimizes your own power. Being direct is shorter, it's clearer, and it's way more confident.
So we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you. Think about your next important conversation, or that next big email. Before you even begin, ask yourself this. Because in an 8-second world, being remembered for that one important thing, well, that's the ultimate victory.